If you asked any one of us how much sleep we need, we'd probably say 7 to 9 hours a night. Some may say they need a little less, but most of us rely on sleep to restore our energy, keep us focused, and help us live healthy lives. And what if you never had to sleep again? No closing your eyes, no nights wasted, no hours lost. Imagine endless time, every single day. It sounds like a superpower. But for one man, this was not a choice. This was reality. Meet Paul Kern, the Hungarian soldier who lived decades fully awake without ever sleeping again. Paul Kern was a soldier in World War I. It was the year 1915. Europe was at war. Millions of men marched to the front. Paul was young, strong, patriotic, and like many others, he joined the fight. But then he was shot. A Russian soldier fired at him. The bullet hit his head, through the temple straight into his brain. Normally, such a wound was fatal. But Paul survived. Doctors performed surgery to remove the bullet fragments and clean the wound. Against all odds, he opened his eyes again. But when he woke up, something was different. Something no doctor had ever seen before. Paul never slept again. At first, nurses thought he was restless. Maybe he had trauma. Maybe pain kept him awake. But the days passed. 3 days, then a week, then a month, and Paul still had not slept. He was not tired. He did not collapse. He simply stayed awake. Imagine it, 72 hours without sleep, 1 week without sleep, then months and still awake. Normally, the human body cannot handle this. After 2 days, we hallucinate. After 3 or 4, the body breaks down. Sleep deprivation can kill. But Paul Kern was different. He kept going alive, awake, functional. Doctors were stunned. How was this possible? How could a man live without rest? In time, Paul returned to daily life. He lived in Budapest, Hungary. He worked as a clerk. He walked in the park. He met friends. His life looked ordinary except for one fact. He never closed his eyes to sleep. Every night, while the world rested, Paul was awake. He read books, he wrote letters. He wandered the silent streets. He sometimes talked to people. Sometimes they helped him. Other times, they just ignored him. You see, for some, having endless free time sounds like a gift. For others, it's an unbearable burden. Paul loved the freedom, but he also felt isolated. He wanted to sleep, but his body wouldn't let him. Every night, the same routine, the same walks, the same thoughts. But Paul learned to live with it, and people around him marveled. Paul's strange condition made him famous in Buda. People called him the man who never sleeps. He became a local legend. Scientists heard about him, and doctors from across Europe came to examine him. They wanted to know how he lived, how he functioned, how he felt. They performed tests, asked questions, studied his behavior, but no one could find an answer. Paul remained a mystery. For Paul himself, life was complicated. At first, he enjoyed the extra time. He read more, he explored more, he accomplished more. He watched the world wake and sleep, and during the quiet hours, he pursued his interests. He visited museums, libraries, and theaters. He took long walks along the Danube. He even learned to play chess. All the things he'd always wanted to do, he now had the chance. But the nights were also lonely. Everyone else slept. The city was silent, and Paul walked alone. Sometimes he wished he could rest, to escape reality for a few hours. But his body refused. Day by day, year by year, Paul learned to adapt. He kept working, kept exploring, kept seeking answers. But he knew deep down, there might not be one. His case defied medical understanding. His condition puzzled scientists, and as decades passed, his story traveled beyond Hungary. Newspapers wrote about him. Doctors presented his case, and even today, his name appears in psychology discussions. Paul Kern became a modern-day Sisyphus, condemned to endless wakefulness, doomed to eternal vigilance. Now, we often hear about sleep disorders, insomnia, nightmares, sleep apnea, but Paul's condition was the opposite. A total absence of sleep. Experts wondered what kept him awake: a damaged brain, altered biochemistry, or a trick of perception. Could he really not sleep? Or was he just hiding it? Some theories suggest that Paul experienced micronaps, brief moments of sleep with his eyes open. Others believe he blocked out, entering a trance-like state where he appeared awake but was mentally absent. But these ideas have their limits. Micronaps don't last for decades, and a blackout doesn't explain his awareness. It's hard to know what to believe because most people didn't witness Paul sleeping. He never offered proof. He simply lived his life, never closing his eyes. You see, people often take sleep for granted. We complain about insomnia, jet lag, or the neighbor's loud music. But when we lose the ability to sleep, it's devastating. Sleep is essential to our well-being. It helps us heal, grow, and think. It affects our mood, metabolism, and hormones. We can survive weeks without food, days without water, but only a few days without sleep. That's why sleep disorders are so serious. They affect millions worldwide and can lead to other health problems. Insomnia can cause depression. Sleep apnea can lead to heart disease. And for those who never want to sleep again, life becomes a torment. Imagine living your entire life with this fear. The constant worry of losing control. You could be sitting in a meeting, listening to someone speak, when suddenly your eyelids start to droop. You fight to stay awake, terrified that if you close your eyes, you won't wake up again. This nightmare is real for many, and it makes us appreciate those who can sleep peacefully at night. It's easy to take sleep for granted until we face its absence. Sleepless nights become a punishment, and every hour spent awake feels like a victory. Think back to the last time you were truly exhausted, maybe after a long journey or a hectic schedule. You finally reached your destination and collapsed into bed. As you drifted off to sleep, you felt a wave of relief washed over you. The weight of the day lifted and you were rejuvenated. You woke up feeling refreshed and ready to tackle a new day. Now imagine never being able to experience that feeling again. The joy of a good night's sleep. The peace of drifting off to dreamland. The comfort of knowing you have another chance to rest and recharge. For those who struggle with sleep, this can feel like a distant memory. Sleep is more than just a necessity. It's a source of comfort and joy. We often associate sleep with peace and tranquility. Just think about it. When you're awake, you're bombarded with stimuli, sounds, sights, and sensations that constantly bombard your senses. But when you close your eyes and drift off to sleep, you enter a different realm, a world where you're free from the distractions of everyday life. You can escape to a place where worries and problems fade away. In this state of tranquility, you're no longer affected by external disturbances. You're free from the stress and pressures that often weigh us down during waking hours. Sleep allows you to disconnect from the chaos of the outside world and retreat into a sanctuary of calmness. This mental retreat can be incredibly restorative, allowing your mind to relax and recharge. So for those who can't sleep, it's not just about missing out on rest. It's about losing a precious source of joy and tranquility. Can you imagine the profound impact that would have on someone's life? Not being able to enjoy the peaceful embrace of sleep, to find solace in dreams, to wake up feeling refreshed and rejuvenated. It's a heartbreaking thought. Those who struggle with sleep often find themselves yearning for those precious moments of rest, dreaming of a night when they can finally drift off without a worry in the world. Scientists continued examining Paul for decades. He became a celebrity patient. But the truth is, no one could help him. No one could cure him. He remained a medical mystery. Paul Kern lived into the 1950s, roughly 40 years since his injury. Throughout his life, he worked as a clerk, walking between his home and work every day. He never married, never had children. Perhaps the sleepless nights frightened him, or maybe he hoped to meet someone in a dream. But Paul never found that someone. He remained a solitary figure, walking the streets of Budapest, reading books and watching the world go by. He was an enigma to doctors, a marvel to scientists, a legend to the people of Budapest. He was Paul Kern, the man who never slept. In 1958, Paul died at the age of 63. He suffered a heart attack on his way home from work. Doctors examined his body, hoping to find an answer. But even in death, Paul held his secrets close. Did he really live without sleeping? Or was there something more to his story? we may never know. What we do know is that Paul Kern lived a life like no other, a life of endless days and sleepless nights. His story is a reminder of the mysteries that still exist within the human body and mind. It's a testament to our resilience and adaptability, but also to the challenges and complexities of the human condition. As we continue to explore the depths of our own existence, we may find inspiration in the extraordinary tales of individuals like Paul Kern, whose lives serve as a mirror reflecting the wonders and enigmas that define our shared humanity. If you found this story fascinating, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell for more unbelievable true stories. And let me know in the comments, if you never needed sleep, what would you do with your extra time?